And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another week, another edition of the WTL 2024 Summer KungFu Cup round number 2. I'm, of course, host Live VIP as always, but tonight I have a very special guest for the very first time, I believe. I don't think we've had the luxury of having this legend of a player on our stream before. It is NXZ.
Wow, that's such a kind intro. Thank you so much. It's great to be casting with you. I'm actually very excited. I saw the playlist. It looked really interesting. And, you know, I just really want to spend time with you. So that's kind of the real win.
Okay, I see. Really, the games are an
selfish.
afterthought.
Yeah. StarCraft? Is that... What's that?
Oh, no. Not like this, but here we go. We're jumping into our first series of the night, and then we can delve into ourselves a little bit as well. But spawning in this right-hand corner, we have our South Korean Protoss player, the Red Protoss representing Twisted Minds. It is Stats. Take it away.
And in the bottom left, it's our Blue Zerg player. He is YoungYakov. PT Heroes, is that his team now?
Yeah.
Okay, from PT Hero. And he's taking a gold base, Live VIP.
Okay.
So this is very interesting. So I guess I'm curious to see how Stats is going to react to this. He's scouted it already. I'm not sure what adaptations you would make in this situation. I actually haven't seen this exact situation on this map play out just yet.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, it's great to see YoungYakov already spicing things up a little bit. You know, Stats, of course, a returning military player, has been actually looking quite solid as of late, especially in GSL. I don't know if you've been tuning into some of those.
Semi-finalist.
Yeah, like a surprising result here. It feels like Stats has been back for a while, but only recently has been able to like really find his stride.
Exactly, and I think the big challenge here, or what Stats is going to look for, is I think he's going to try and get the Adepts to pressure this gold base, and so that's why, YoungYakov, he's going straight for these rocks. He needs to break those down so he can contest the Adept. I do think this first Adept's going to be a bit of a problem. I'm curious to see how he deals with it.
Yeah,
the Queen is out, though.
The Queen is out. The rocks get knocked down as well. Adept does threaten the middle line, but we are just ready in time so far. The first Adept doesn't do too much, but of course we have a second Adept on the way. We have the Stargate finishing up as well. As you mentioned, Stats, his goal here should be to try and punish this goal. Exactly.
And YoungYakov is going to get so much money from this gold base, and then I think he's going to look to do something off a lower drone count from being so rich. Okay, here's the double Adept. This is probably the first critical pressure.
Yeah, the first two Adepts
are
here. A
lot of links.
Yeah, so far we're trading well with some of these links here, forcing out more links as well. Link speed is a couple of seconds off from finishing off. The Oracle likewise is still on the way as well. And YoungYakov is taking a third base behind this. As you mentioned, I also imagine he wants to be aggressive with this gold, but for now he is still mixing in a couple of drones as well.
Yeah, we'll see how he does. This is really the challenging part of taking these faraway bases, is dealing with the first two Adepts. And actually, Stats is going to lose both of them. And he doesn't get very much for it. The Oracle is coming in. Is there going to be a Spore Crawler? Oh, he's got two Queens. That should be enough to deflect this for now. YoungYakov looking at the third base here of Stats, which just goes down. He will pick off a probe.
Yeah, pretty good pickups here. Probe goes down. We get eyes on the third base. Not enough to fully cancel it, and now we can make use of the Oracle as well. But behind this, YoungYakov, he is still droning up. He's still saturating his bases. Has a link force to be reckoned with. Sure, that's true, but doesn't really have too much to threaten Stats yet. Oh.
Main nest going down, and that's going to be a aggressive Bane nest if I've ever seen one. I just can't see him macroing off this, so he's going to go for a big attack. The question is when and what his plan is going to be. Stats hasn't fully committed to any tech particularly. Forge and Twilight Council going down, and he's continuing to get some harassment off. That Bane nest is in the back of the main, so it's going to be hard for the Oracles to find it. Oh, Stats! Hello?
Over
Stats?
Yeah, they're extending a little bit there. The Oracle does move in and does get shut down. Big pickup, and because of that, that's even less of a chance here to scout for stats. He's down to 1 Oracle towards the left-hand side. Towards the right, he does get some more drone kills, but now the all-in is upon us. No more workers in the production tab, only Lings. Never mind, we are replacing some of those drones.
He's going to lose this. Oh my god, he almost loses that Oracle, but he has no energy. He only has 2 Oracles left, and both of them have next to no energy left. The Banes are morphing. I can't see how he holds this third base. I mean, he is going for Stalkers, which will be somewhat effective. But I mean, rallying Lings, he doesn't have the energy of the Oracles.
Yeah, the Oracles, they do nothing right now. We're diving on top of the Stalkers. 2 Stalkers, no shield battery either, and the Bane's going for the natural.
Oh my god. He's in, and he's going to get some workers, but I don't know if... I'm not sure about this choice with the Banes there just yet. But I guess he will definitely get the third. The Queens are here as well. Oh
yeah, the Queens, they have one on the cross map. We have 6 Queens in total, which means the Oracles, they can do nothing to defend. This third base, as you mentioned, should go down, but can we keep pushing from here? There is static defense, cannon, shield battery at that natural base as well, but not much of an army.
Yeah, I mean, the question here is not really whether he can hold the third base, it's whether it's going to be enough damage just getting rid of the third. And you can already see the drones, the lair coming in for YoungYakov. He's done what he planned to do here with this attack, and oh, stats doesn't show. Oh. Okay. Oh my god. Okay, so stats gets away with the Stalkers there. So far, his micro not exactly perfect. I mean, losing an Oracle in the early game, and okay, some nice little moves, and now he does some energy, but the Stalkers do get caught.
Yeah, the Stalkers are caught out, and just like that, 3-4 Stalkers go down. Big pickups here from YoungYakov.
He lost an Oracle as well. Only 1 Oracle left, 5 Stalkers. This is only on 2 bases. This playstyle with the Blink Stalkers, it relies so much on getting the big economy. You want to get the 3rd base up, the 4th base up, and really overwhelm the Zerg player from having such a strong economy. And stats here, he's down to 2 bases. He's just got Blink Stalkers. They're not tech units. He doesn't have Storm. He doesn't have Immortals. He doesn't have a 3rd base. I mean, Zerg is in such a good position. Stats is going to have to go for an all-in, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, that looks like what he's going to try for. But does he even have a Warp Prism? Does he have a Robo Bay?
Look, what he does have here is a dream, okay? He has Stalkers in a dream right now. No Robo, as you mentioned, no Bay, no Warp Prism, but we do see stats pushing out across the map, and he needs to, as you mentioned, he has no longevity in this game. He does catch a lot of Queens, to be fair, but we do have 5 more Queens behind this, and YoungYakov is getting into Roaches.
Yeah, I mean, Roachling is all YoungYakov is going to need to hold this. The 3rd base is going down behind this for stats, so I think he's just going to look to see what he can get. And Blink Stalkers on creep, though, is not a good place for them to be, and the Lings do get us around. YoungYakov predicting the Blink there, a nice little move, and he's actually going to, I think, pick off a few Stalkers. More than a few, actually. A lot of Stalkers are going to go down here, and these Lings, in the grand scheme of things, are relatively cheap.
Yeah, exactly. YoungYakov can afford these losses. Meanwhile, Stats cannot. We do see the Stats. He should be able to clean up most of this army, but as you mentioned, we are just whittling away at this. The Stalker count getting lower and lower. We're down to 4 Roaches remaining here, and we do have a wave of reinforcements coming in. Stats, he will clean this up.
Yeah, a big wave of Stalkers coming, and actually only 47 drones here for YoungYakov. Now, some of those are on the gold base, of course, and they're going to be mining more efficiently than usual, so this isn't going to be exactly a 47 drone Zerg, which is frankly very all-in, and Stats getting some pickoffs here. And here are the Lings. Now, these kind of fights aren't very good for Blink Stalkers. Now, it looks like it's okay, but when you're just fighting like kind of low numbers versus low numbers, it's not the best fight for Blink Stalkers. You really want to be in this point where you're losing nothing and just picking things off. And oh, it's a very critical fight here for both players. The drones are being pulled.
Yeah, I mean, we're running out of Lings. We need some kind of buffer with the boys being pulled, more drones are going down. The Roaches are struggling a little bit here against the Stalkers. They do come with some reinforcements, and can Stats break through? I mean, we're running out of Roaches.
Roaches are going down, but there are reinforcements for the Zerg. And the aggressive Blink, I'm not sure about this decision. He is going to trade, but YoungYakov's targeting here, very, very nice. He is picking off a lot of the Stalkers, and I think this is going to peter out for Stats. The question is, he has got the 3rd base behind this. He's got +2 on the way. YoungYakov down in supply now. More Blink Stalkers rallying.
Yeah, and looks like the controller's good enough. You ask, what does Stats have? He has control pop. He has micro, he has Stalkers, he has a dream. He shuts out every single Roach. GG gets called, and Stats will take game at number 1.
That was such a sick game, like VIP. That was so sick. Oh, God. I can't believe Stats won there.
Bobby, you have to have faith in the Protoss, Bobby. You're like, oh, he has no tech, but Stalker, that's all he needs, Bobby. Just the Stalker. Oh, beautiful.
That was so sick. Stats played so well there. And I guess, I think really where YoungYakov was struggling is he only had the 47 drones. So
Yeah.
he couldn't afford to give up the gold base. He couldn't afford to give up the position, move the drones back to his other base, and play from there. If he's just 47 drones against this Protoss player, all of a sudden the lead, it's not so clear for him. So he went for his final stand there, and I guess you have to wonder is like, did he maybe commit too early? I mean, it looked like the fights were all okay, but I guess Stats' micro was just too good.
Yeah, you can maybe argue that maybe YoungYakov could have or should have tried to transition a little bit earlier, started droning a little bit earlier, as you mentioned, because the drone count was so low and stayed so low. Again, like it was something where the micro of Stats could carry him in that game in the final moments, which was quite impressive, don't get me wrong, but yeah, YoungYakov, I'm sure a little bit of a frustrating of a loss, because I feel like he knew that he had a decent position, had a decent lead there, and I hope he's able to shake it off coming into game 2.
Definitely. And I think I liked his idea, I liked his build, I think it worked well. I suppose the only indecision there was sending the Banes towards the natural. I think probably that was an error. I think he probably should have just tried to use those to help at the third, clean that up quicker, and then been able to drone a bit more. Maybe he gets out an extra 4 or 5 drones, and that makes a really big difference to defending that follow-up pressure. But I really like the idea. I think he executed generally very well, and Stats did get enough counter damage there to end the game. But I think like that was really on a nice edge there, and so I'm really curious to see if he's going to continue to play this way. I wonder how he sees himself in this series against Stats. Like if he feels that he's an underdog, he needs to throw something out. So we're definitely going to see what he's going to be pulling out here in game 2.
Yeah, we'll see what he does pull out. As spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the South Korean Protoss player flexing his micro there in game number 1, taking a lead in this series, representing Twisted Minds. It is Stats.
And in the top left, the Blue Zerg player pulling out some interesting strategies there in game 1. Here he's in game 2, representing PT Hero, YoungYakov. Very, very interesting game. I'm just super curious to see what YoungYakov does here in game 2. Is he going to try and play a bit more orthodox? I mean, there's no gold base on this map, so that's obviously a good start.
Yeah, definitely. You know, as amazing and as kind of a creative game 1 was, I do want to see a more straight up back and forth between these two. I'm a little bit greedy in that sense, but when it comes to Stats as a player, he has kind of risen quite quickly since post Katowice, and he's been looking quite impressive, but I still have a really hard time judging and gauging Stats, and I would love to see how he compares to a player like YoungYakov in a more straight up mid game and even towards later into the game as well.
Yeah, I'm not sure that we're going to see that necessarily. I think YoungYakov is probably going to try and hit something here in the early to mid game. It's a question of what exactly, and what his direction is going to be. I think Stats, I mean, I think we know what we're going to get out of Stats. I think we're probably going to see something similar to Adepts. He's probably going to go into the Stargate. I think he probably will continue with the Blink Stalker idea. And it's just going to be a matter of what YoungYakov has cooking for him, I believe. Oh my god, this probe. Oh my god.
The scouting probe goes down a little bit too early there, and YoungYakov could try to use that to his advantage as well. You're talking about early game aggression, so we'll see if YoungYakov tries to be a little bit more spicy here. As you mentioned, Stats, he isn't the most aggressive of players, right? He's a little more standard. I mean, sure, like he was all in last game, but he was kind of forced into that kind of position. More than anything, Stats, he's not like a hero. He's not like a classic. He's typically not the one to kind of set the pace in that way.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, in the last game, and even in that game, he was using this pressure to kind of transition back out into his original plan with the third base behind. And I think, like, you know, Stats, we know him to be, he wants to be solid, he wants to be safe, and generally his intuition is to defend first. And so that's going to serve him well, but losing that probe does give him less information, so he's not going to be able to see the third base go down for the Zerg player. It is down, this is a normal build, but Stats is not going to see that until this Adept gets across the map. which it's not actually going to do. So he's going to look for some Lings. So stats, I think he's just going to, look, he's got a Stargate, he's got an Oracle. I think he's just going to be happy to play safe. Now, in theory, there could be some kind of Roach build coming. I guess Stats is comfortable. He could reactively get a Void Ray, put down a Shield Battery or something like this. And he is going to have the double Adept actually coming in. And he's going to see that this is all relatively normal.
Yeah, and it's a bit of a risky move here from Stats, just because, especially after game 1, right, where we did have some cheese, where we did have an all-in, and to kind of go for a bit of a later scout with those adepts despite losing the probe, it's a bold move here, and I feel like it does kind of show his confidence a little bit in this series, especially after game 1, right? Despite how dire the situation was, he still was able to get a win there, as both adepts are going to get shut down.
Yeah, that's actually really, really nice for YoungYakov. Picking up the 2 adepts in the middle of the map, Oracle has to pop a bit of energy, doesn't pick off too many Zerglings, and this third base is going to be in trouble. He's going to at least, okay, he gets the cancel, gets some energy out. This is a big mistake from Stats, and I'm not exactly sure where he's gone wrong, and YoungYakov actually going for a very fast Evo Chamber behind this, and he's going to try and force out more energy from this Oracle. Stats is not... Oh, he is going to bite and picks off a few more Zerglings this time. Oh, there's more Lings rallying.
Oh, yeah.
20 more Lings on the way.
We've got a massive wave of Lings on the way. As you mentioned, Stats upon losing those first 2 adepts, things very quickly snowballed out of control. The dominoes started falling. We forced a cancel on the third base. Now there's no shield battery. Now there's no overcharge either. And YoungYakov, he wants to knight for a second time.
100%. I mean, what is he looking for here? Is it... He's actually looking to... He's really sure... Oh my gosh, Stats took the shade. The Oracles are there to support. There are 3 of them, which are very powerful against Zerglings, but all the Adepts will go down. I'm not sure if that was exactly the right trade, but it does continue to put Stats on the back foot.
Yeah, exactly.
Swapping in, he's going to be fine.
Yeah, he's going to be able to hold on. He does defend his base. Was that the right call here for YoungYakov? I mean, it does mean that he's safe to drone up back at home, and YoungYakov, he is droning up. We have +1 melee on the way. Lair is in production as well. We have yet to throw down any Roach Warren. Bear that in mind. We're sticking with Ling production for the time being. We'll see if we do invest in that Roach Warren later on, or if we go into some other form of tech off of Lair.
That seems to have relatively few probes for this stage of the game. I mean, partly that's him just losing the Nexus, getting that denied, and maybe a few more Warpins than he would necessarily want at this stage in the game, but he's quite far down in the work account, at least he was, and now he's got the 3 Nexuses pumping probes, and so he's going to quickly catch up there, and he is going into the Blink Stalkers. YoungYakov, I think he can't be too upset with how this game has gone, and with, if these Oracles get in.
To get in, they get 3 more drones. As you did mention, YoungYakov in a pretty decent state here. Right now, the pressure's on Stats to try to bounce back, and he at least has these Oracles being as active as they can be, and we are taking up behind this. Not just +1 Blink Stalkers, we have the Robo on the way, we have the Templar Archives as well. Stats just building up towards that later game, and we have our answer. Now that the lair is done, it is going to be Ling into Hydra.
Yeah, and his +1 melee is done. This is that 3, I mean, I can't even remember when the Evo was, but it was before 4 minutes, well before 4 minutes. And so he's got +2 started, when Stats' +1 is only halfway done, which is not common for Zerg. And he's going to have another upgrade coming, presumably ranged. He's going to have Hydralisks ready. I think there's either a Hydra Ling, he may choose to add Banes, he may not even need them against this Blink Stalker play, and I think he's going to have really, really powerful timing here. Ideally before Storm, probably with +2 melee. And the question is whether Stats is going to be ready for that.
Yeah, it's all going to come down to that timing, to that push. As you mentioned, Storm is now on the way. It did just start up. We do see YoungYakov. He's actually taking up in towards an Infestation Pit, so it looks like he's not necessarily going for any kind of all-in. He's applying pressure with his Lings across the map, but Stats this time he does react in time. Ooh, just barely able to wall off.
Yeah, and these Lings are so powerful with +1. This Adept is just getting chewed down so fast. The Sentry is able to, well, I mean, it's in holder for now, but the Lings do get in, and the Probe was not able to make a pylon, and a Stalker goes down, a Sentry goes down. These are going to go into the main base, and a lot of Oracle energy. Sure, that was a lot of Lings, but at this stage of the game, it's not the end of the world. He's got 80 drones up. Like you mentioned, here comes the Hive. Here comes the Lurker Den. YoungYakov he's going to go into a Lurker timing, and I think this is going to work out really well for him because he's already, look, he did have this fast upgrade, and I thought that would serve him well to go for a timing, but equally so, it's a great stepping point to transition to lurkers, which can be very effective against this storm composition that Stats is going for. Stats adding the other robo, and that double robo immortal is going to be very helpful against any kind of lurker composition. But the thing for Stats is that any kind of carriers, tempests, they're not on the cards for him right now. So there's going to be, as we find, ooh, okay, nice reactions from YoungYakov, getting out of that storm.
Yeah, definitely, as you say.
YoungYakov's so aggressive.
He does find an immortal. Good catch here from YoungYakov. Does push forward, does force a big warp in. We have plenty of side defense here at the natural base. Stats, he will be able to defend. As you were mentioning, we're all just kind of taking up here. And even though Stats does have a fleet beacon on the way and is working towards Skytos, at least into the back of his mind, the lurker timing is going to hit first, right? Like, we should be able to hit before there are too many carriers out, before we can transition. Right now, YoungYakov, he's actually diving on top of those high Templar once again.
Oh my god, he's going to catch the Templars. And Stats, oh, he does get the storm off, and that is okay. But a lot of these Lings are going to be trading so well with +1 against the Stalkers. The Oracles are here, and if the Hydras can get away, that's really the... Okay, he's going to pick off the Oracles. All the Hydras do go down, though. So that was a big pick off for Stats. Now, a lot of the Templars are dead. He is warping in more. Now, the question is there going to be a lurker timing in time? Will there be enough Immortals? This is such a big tipping point here. The night is coming down. It's going to be a mothership, like you said, from the fleet beacon. Still not yet transitioning to the other air units. He just doesn't quite have the backbone to his army yet.
Yeah, both players are hurting, right? I mean, sure, Stats to kill the Hydras, but likewise, he'll also the High Templar as well. So as you mentioned, a very tense moment here for both YoungYakov and Stats. We just see a Zealot run back coming in. A good amount of drones are going to get picked off here towards the left-hand side, distracting YoungYakov for a moment while Stats is building up. That Immortal count, which was once at 0, is building up. We have 4, soon to be 6 Immortals on the field.
Yeah, 100%. 6 Immortals is going to be huge. The Nidus is here. It's in the back of the main. Now, this is going to be very critical. Stats notices it straight away. Now, I don't think that's enough probes to shut this down. There's Lings in the natural at the same time. Stats is going to pick that off. I think this Nidus is going to get up. The question is how much is going to come out of it? It looks like nothing. YoungYakov is going to give that up. He picks off this run by, and I think this 4th base position, I do think the Zoe play is going to get there, but the Immortals are here.
Yeah, YoungYakov trying to split apart Stats, going for the Nidus, going for the fake out, but as we can see, the storms get thrown down and Stats, he is in position. There's no pushing into this. The Immortals are here ready for this. That is a lot of lurkers, but trying to push into shield batteries, side defense, into these Immortals, I don't know if we can.
Yeah, exactly right. Here's the mothership. It's going to say hello. This is a very, very powerful army, but like you said, the only way you can really use this is you need to somehow get the Protoss out of position. The Nidus is going down in the natural. Lings going towards the natural. YoungYakov trying to pull Stats apart. Lings are in the main base now. The Stalkers are distracted. Overseer will be ready to drop that next Nidus. And the transition is coming with double Spire. Okay, the Nidus gets up inside the natural. Is that going to be enough? There's no detection here.
Oh, no detection whatsoever. We clean up a good chunk of those lurkers as well. Meanwhile, the Nidus
no
does finish, but
for either of them.
we can't see, Fabi. We can't see anything. But there's the revelation. We clean up the lurkers. Meanwhile, the Nidus gets shut down as well. Stats, he does defend. Thankfully, as you mentioned, YoungYakov is working on his transition into his Spire Tech, into his Corruptors. But that was quite a bit thrown away there, and it's still up in the air. As there we go. We have carriers on the way.
Yep. So Stats, he's happy with his position. He's like, all right, I've defended, I've solidified, I've got enough Immortals, I killed a bunch of lurkers, I'm okay. I can start to transition now. And ooh, the Zerg player though behind this, he's gotten ready. He's ready to go for the late game. He's got 93 workers last I checked, 96 now. Really gone up to an insane economy. He's trying to take his entire map, his side of the map. He's got 2 Spires coming, and he's going to transition here into a very late game as he tries to get these multi-prongs up.
Yeah, exactly. We've reached, I think we both assumed that YoungYakov would try to go for a bit of a shorter, a bit of a more faster, aggressive game here, but we have entered the late game so far, dancing back and forth. Do have a revelation on the lurkers. Not too many lurkers are in position, by the way. Stats could try to break through.
Yeah, definitely. This is a powerful army. You can't just take it for granted that you can beat these Immortal armies. And the Storm's going down really nice now. The more lurkers are coming here, and I think that should be enough to deflect this for now. Although, as I say that, Stats is pushing through, and oh my gosh, there's just going to be Hydroling rallying. I'm not sure if that's going to be enough. This base is definitely going to get picked off.
Yeah.
And if the Zerg player can't consolidate his rally here, it's going to be very... I mean, his supply is telling the whole story.
Yeah, the soup.
Stats just A-moved him.
The soup does not lie. We have one lurker left here for YoungYakov. The storms on the Hydras were a little bit too good, and before YoungYakov could get into Corruptor, who get ready for his Sky Toss, he's going to be shut down. We do pick up the Mothership, though, with these reinforcements. It looks like YoungYakov can barely hold on.
He's going to at least deflect some of this, but he lost so many workers there, and that's the game. And Stats, very, very impressive defense. Handled himself so well. Takes game 2 and the series.
GG, well played. Congratulations here to Stats as he does take the series 2-0. But a shout out to YoungYakov, because even though I feel like on paper, right, everyone knows who Stats is. You know, Stats, he's a champion, he has a legacy behind him. YoungYakov, he's a little bit of a newer up-and-comer to the scene relative to Stats. I feel like YoungYakov, he held his own, you know, it didn't feel like there was too much of a skill disparity between them.
No, I think YoungYakov really kind of represented himself well there. I'm impressed with his game, and really it's just a difficult situation there. You're kind of getting ready to transition against the Sky Toss, and then all of a sudden, oh my god, there's a big ground army attacking me, and he just wasn't quite in position, didn't have the static defense, didn't have the setup that he needed. 6-8 Immortals with Storm, and more than enough to push through.
Yeah, exactly. You know, cool with our pants down a little bit, maybe thinking a little bit too far ahead, and again, maybe taking for granted our position. You know, the lurkers weren't where they needed to be, and Stats was able to find that one weak point in the defense of YoungYakov. So really impressive stuff there by Stats. But he's going to have to tighten up his play a little bit, I feel, as well, because if we have a look at the bracket, we have a potential next player, as we have a lot of updates going on right now in said bracket.